All right, folks. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Let's get this show started, shall we? Wow, that was loud, wasn't it? I'm sorry about that, folks. Hey, this is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to welcome you all to the show this morning, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. That's right, folks. When you think of living in Vegas, think living local. And we want to welcome you all to the show today. Let me adjust this camera a little bit. Just a little missing my head there. I can't miss my head there. So we want to welcome you all to the show today. We've got a special show today. We're going to air part of an interview we had with Chris and Suzette Demery. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have that in just a couple minutes here. And they are the owners of the GNC, the General Nutrition Center, out on Eastern. Chris is a great guy. If you ever met Chris and I look pretty much exactly the same. Pretty much. We're both about 6 foot tall, svelte, muscular, and we both have bald head, and we're both black. So that's probably about the only place where Chris and I look the same. We're both African American and bald, but Chris is much taller than me, much more svelte than I am, and that's all right. It's fine. I'm not bitter. I'm not bitter because Chris is bigger than me. It's, some people are just bigger. Want to welcome. Oh, and I didn't do this. I guess I should have opened up my Facebook pages here, so we could actually see if anybody's on page watching us this morning. Want to welcome all of our friends on Facebook who are watching the show, and especially you folks who are watching us on YouTube. You're gonna have a great show today. You really are. So I'm actually going over to the Facebook pages now. So I'm so sorry, folks, that I didn't do it this morning, and I probably should have done it, but I didn't. And it happens sometimes. But if you'd like to say hello, definitely do that. If you're one of my kids and you want to say Happy Father's Day already, now that you said it, thank you. I appreciate it. You didn't have to do that. I'll take it. So that's right. So this weekend is Father's Day. We're going to talk a little bit about Father's Day, and we're going to talk about Juneteenth, because some people have no idea what Juneteenth is. So we're going to talk a little bit about Juneteenth, and hopefully that we can, shed a little light on that. Before we do that, folks, let's sell some stuff here, folks, real quick, and we'll be back in just a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, folks, we are back, and once again, this is Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. I want to welcome you all to the show today. I finally do have my pages open on Facebook. Some of you may not even know who I am. I have to say this every time. I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine, right over my shoulder here. This is actually the cover for Livin in Vegas magazine. That was the April edition. Yeah, April edition of the magazine. It's gonna. You can still get this, folks. We're actually working on the July edition right now. The cover will change, content will completely change. We're going to be doing some really cool articles that are in the upcoming edition, and I think you're gonna really enjoy it. Also, I'm the publisher of Livin Weekly magazine. And so, Livin Weekly magazine, it is out right now. We publish that weekly, if you can imagine. Um, publish Livin Weekly magazine on a weekly basis. So, this particular issue was the murals of downtown Las Vegas. And so, it's a really cool expose on some of the really just prolific artists that we have in the that display their things in the downtown area of Las Vegas. So very cool. So definitely get that. And where do you get it? Go to our website. Just go to our website, livininvegas.com. That's livininvegas.com. And you can actually get either one of these. So you can pick up Livin in Vegas or Livin Weekly magazine. Let's talk a little bit about Father's Day. So Father's Day is coming up this weekend. Okay, so we won't be on air because I think we celebrate Father's Day on Sunday, and I really encourage you folks. I grew up. My dad was not at home when I was a kid. My dad and I developed a relationship later in life, and before he passed away, I talked to my dad, pretty much every weekend for years. But I was an adult by then, and so one of the things that I endeavored to do for my kids was to always be at home. My wife and I have been married 31 years, and never had a fight. I mean, never. I mean, we don't have those drag out fights. We just never did. And so my kids have always had a dad at home, always. And all my kids are grown now. They're out of the house. Matter of fact, we became empty nesters. Many of you know this about 2 weeks ago. So finally became empty nesters. Kids are out of the house, and now Mama and I are kind of looking at each other like, what do we do now? Because we've just devoted so much time to our kids and business and that kind of stuff. And no, we're actually having a good time. We really are. So don't cry for us because we're fine. We really are fine. We're actually having some us time now, which is great. And today, as a matter of fact, I get to take my grandson to go get his driver's license. Yeah, my grandson, Jaden, many of you know who he is. I get to take him to get his driver's license today, which is great because I took all my other kids to get their driver's license. Now I'm starting on the grandkids, which is fine with me. I love it. I have no problem with that at all. Love my grandkids. So what are you going to do for granddad? Or what are you going to do for your father on Father's Day this weekend? There's tons of things to do. There's restaurants. There's shows out there, sporting events. Guys, guess what? May not be a bad idea. Give them something memorable. Okay, a tie. A tie is fine. There's nothing wrong with a tie. There's nothing wrong with socks. Give them something memorable, though. And as a dad, this is what I encourage you to do. And I might be different than other dads. Then it's fine. I keep things. Okay, I am a hoarder when it comes to stuff. So I know some of you are looking at my backdrop here and you're going, Sherman, you don't look like a hoarder. This is really not my office. My office looks totally different than this. I have stuff everywhere. I have stuff, and a lot of it is actually my kids' stuff. Okay, there's a lot of stuff and my kids don't even know this, but I keep a lot of their stuff. Matter of fact, here, I'm going to grab something really quick here. Okay, this is, this right here, folks, I don't know if you can even see it. Let's get this out of here. Oh, because I keep stuff in it. This cup, it's a silver cup, okay, and I know you can see it. It looks really old and janky and stuff like that. This was my dad's cup, okay? I also have my dad's pipe, that kind of stuff. Okay, so reason why I bring this up is because Father's Day, guys, if most dads are like me, we keep things. So get dad something he can keep forever. Okay? Doesn't have to be big. I mean, it really doesn't have to be big at all. It can be something small. Okay? It could be something as small as a cup. Okay? This cup is over 60 years old. Yeah, over 60 years old. I keep it as a prized possession of mine. I see it every single day. As a matter of fact, I'm going to grab one more thing, okay? And then we'll do the video. Here, hopefully nothing will fall when I get this down. Okay, here's another thing. All right, so this is another thing. All right, I know a lot of you guys are going, well, Sherman, what are you doing all this stuff? So this is a boxing trophy for my dad. Okay, used to have a plaque on the front of it that I've since knocked off years ago. But this was, and I can tell you what year it is. 1961. It's the year I was born, and it's a boxing trophy that my dad got. And I've kept this. It's it's marble base. It's I don't know. This was my dad was a boxer, so my dad boxed Golden Gloves, and I kept all of his stuff. So I have all kinds of stuff that my dad had. So the reason why I say this, okay, once this, my dad, okay, get dad something that he's going to remember for the rest of your life. Okay, doesn't have to be big. It really doesn't. This is very small. I keep it on a little shelf that I have here in the office, and I'm gonna move this over here. I should probably next time I come up, I'm gonna have this shined up for you so you can actually see it because it shines up really well. It's dusty. Get dad something that he'll remember you from. Okay. And a reminder of you, because I have the things that my kids, I won't even tell them. When I die, my kids are going to go through my stuff and they're going to go, Dad, you kept that? I go, yeah, I kept that all these years. I've looked at it every single day, and it reminds me of you, my child. Okay, so that's just the way it is. Okay, so let's do the video. Do we have time? Yeah, we'll go ahead and start the video. We'll show you just part of the segment of it, and we're gonna air the rest of it Tuesday of next week, okay? Because that's when I told Chris Demery and Suzette that we were going to air it. So, let me set this up a little bit. Chris Demery is the owner of, and Chris and Suzette Demery are the owners of the GNC located on Eastern and McDonald Ranch, something like that. It's really south end Eastern. And I met Chris a few years ago and had no idea that he owned so many of the GNCs here in town. At one time, he owned like 7 of them. At one time, he was the largest franchisee owner of GNC in the state of Nevada and had the highest grossing GNCs nationally. Lives right here in Las Vegas, Chris Demery. So, I said, hey, Chris, I'd like to do a story on you because you're such a great guy and you're, just a cool guy. Can we do a story on you? He said, yeah, come on down and we'll come and take a look at what we're doing. So here is, we'll show maybe 5-6 minutes of it or so of this interview we did with Chris Demery and his wife Suzette over at their store on Eastern. Okay, so we'll be back in just a couple minutes, folks. This is part 1 of the Demery interview, and let's get it started. Take a minute to get started. Okay, here we go. And folks, we're here with Chris Demery and his wife Suzette, and we're going to be talking about the GNC experience. Thank you, folks, for being a part of the show today. So, Chris, Suzette, tell me a little bit about GNC.
Well, GNC has been around for many years, and we found out about GNC because my husband takes their products.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Couldn't tell. Yes.
Before we did our own franchise, he was always shopping at GNC, and it's a way to help people. It's really come across with COVID, being able to help with the supplements, the vitamins, zinc, and all those different types of products.
Yeah. But it's funny, we're going to talk about the health benefits of GNC too. I think our before we get there, our listeners want to know who you folks are. Okay. So tell us a little bit about you. How did you get me? Let's start with you, Chris. Where are you from? Are you from Las Vegas originally?
Colorado.
Colorado?
Yeah, Colorado Springs.
Denver-ish?
Yeah, Colorado Springs. My dad was in the military, so I lived Germany, Texas, Georgia, Washington State. I've been there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
cool.
With all of them. But I call Colorado home. That's the longest amount of time I spent there.
Yeah.
High school.
And you've been in Vegas for?
Been in Vegas since 1992. I lived in Reno 2 years before that. So total time in Nevada, 32 years.
Oh my gosh! So you've seen a lot of change in Las Vegas?
Yes.
Yeah.
When this was just a dirt lot.
Yeah.
And St. Rose was 2 lanes.
Was 2 lanes, sure, remember that, yeah. And Suzette, and you're not from America. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what part of Canada?
I grew up in British Columbia.
Okay.
And lived most of my life after school in Alberta, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So the heat here is very different.
I was going to ask you about that. How is the heat?
Well, I love it.
Do you love the heat?
Yeah.
So
I don't know how I lived in the snow.
I wonder
so
about that
different.
sometimes too.
Yeah.
How does it affect you coming from a colder climate, now you're coming down here to Vegas?
It's nice.
Nice.
Now I'm used to the heat, so if I go back to Canada, it's like I'm always cold.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. And so, how did you two meet? You it was just a
Years ago, I had a bodyguard company. I used to work for the owner of the service owner in Los Angeles.
Okay, sure.
And one night I was off. I walked into the Bellagio, was the light nightclub. The bartender,
Sure.
talking to her. She just came in. She had this frown on her face because she just paid a god awful amount of money to get in there. And
Not in Vegas. No.
and
Those
even
prices.
then it was pricey.
Sure.
So I bought her a drink, struck up a conversation. We started dating long distance. Back and forth. I think she was more here than I was in Canada because of my job. But basically that's how it started. And she
Okay. Can you hear me now? I just noticed. I just noticed is that my vocals are down. All right, let's. I'm gonna go back a little bit, folks. So we'll show the remainder of the video with Chris and his wife Suzette next week on Tuesday. So you'll actually get to check that out. Okay. And of course now dog's barking. So if you want to watch the rest of that video, definitely check us out Tuesday. It'll actually be up on Tuesday. You'll love it. It's just wonderful. So let's go on to some cool stuff that's going on here in Vegas that I think you really want to know about. So over many of you remember over at Lake Mead, the water level has been going down, and for some reason this dog is really barking really loud today. Out at Lake Mead, water level has been going down, 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 and things that have normally not been seen, that might have been 50 feet below the water line, 200, now it's about 200 feet down from where it normally is. Things have been coming up, and some of them for good reasons, some of them for not reasons, but people have found themselves, or they've dug up things. 55-gallon drum was one of those things, and inside of one of them was the skeletal remains of somebody. Well, there's a story that came out, and there's a guy who says, I think that one of these skeletal remains is my dad. His name is Daniel Kolod, Kolod. He's 22, or he was 22 when he drowned at Colville Bay in 1958. Yeah, I know, and his body was never recovered. So as the story goes, Daniel and a buddy of his were out on the lake, and they had their boat out there, and boat throw them both out. They hit a wake. Both of them fell out of the boat. One of them survived. The other one did not. They found the one guy as the boat was kind of going in a circle. So the boat was going in a circle, and they found the other guy and were able to rescue him. But the other guy, Daniel, was never able to be found. Well, his son, I think his son was like 3 years old at the time. Let me double check. He was 3 years old. His name is Todd Kolod, Kolod. He said he was 3 years old when his dad died. And parents told him, hey, or his mom said, hey, Dad's gone. He's out feeding the fish. Well, now, guess what? They're going by dental records. Sorry, I can't hear a thing I'm saying. They're going by dental records now. Evidently, Daniel had lost a couple of teeth in the front. And now they're going by dental records to see if they can find the guy. Remarkably, right now, it looks really promising that this actually might be the guy. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I know. Who would have thunk, right? After all those years. I mean, since 1958? My gosh. It's a long, long time. Wouldn't that be a great Father's Day present? I mean, a great Father's Day present that you find out that actually you found your dad after all this time. Okay? And you actually have this opportunity. I don't know why I'm on the whole Father's Day kick now. Because it's important. It's just so important that you honor your dad, you honor your parents, and some of you, and it's not just the males honoring their fathers, it's the females honoring their fathers. Because guess what? Dads have a special relationship with their daughters. Now, I have 3 daughters. So 3 daughters, 1 son. And the relationship with my son is totally different than what it is with my daughters. I mean, it's just totally different. Love my son, love my daughters. Love them both, but the relationship is just different. And so just kind of take the time to say, hey, Dad, love you. Call him. Dads don't require a lot. We really don't. My wife keeps asking me. My birthday was just a couple weeks ago. And she goes, honey, what do you want? What do you want? I go, I don't really want anything. I mean, there's really nothing I need. Look at what I got here, folks. These right here are arm bands. You can't see them because it's kind of a green screen. Here, I can turn it that way. These are, you can't even see it. I'm so sorry. These are armbands for when you ride your bike to keep you warm when you're riding downhill and it's 20 degrees. That's really all I need. Come on. Here's another thing. Glasses. So when I go riding my bike, I can actually, be cool when I'm riding my So I don't need anything. But dads just want to be told by their kids, hey, Dad, thanks. You're a knucklehead, Dad. You made my life miserable sometimes, Dad, because you told your corny jokes, or you beat up my boyfriend. When I love that man, I love that boyfriend. Well, it's because we dads care about our kids. We really do. We just want the best for our kids, and we knew what it was like when we grew up. So do something for Dad this weekend. Just do something for him. Here, let's take a real quick break. We'll be back in just a second, folks. Here we go. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. folks. We are back. This is Sherman Ray. This is the Livin in Vegas podcast where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, the events. Shape. That's for small one. Small shape. Shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think of living in Vegas, folks, think living local. Okay, living local. And this weekend, also, in addition to Father's Day, we are celebrating Juneteenth. And some people are going, huh? Juneteenth? What the heck is that? Okay. So, many of you remember what the Emancipation Proclamation was. It was the historic document signed by Abraham Lincoln January 1st, 1865. That 64, 65. I gotta get that date correct here. And let me look it up first because I hate to say that and have it wrong. Emancipation Proclamation. 63, sorry. Should have known that. And so the Emancipation Proclamation was signed January 1st, 1863. And on that date, far and wide across the Union, slavery was abolished in the United States. So the expansion of slavery was not going to happen, and that so that was during about the third year of the Civil War. Well, unfortunately, what happened, though, is that not every slave found out about slavery. Every slave found out about freedom. It wasn't until June 19th that the word got to all of the slaves that were in Texas. Okay, does that make sense? So June 19th of that year, slaves in Texas found out, hey, guys, guess what? You don't have to pull that cotton and shear them sheeps for, slave wages. That is actually the day that African Americans celebrate emancipation, is June 19th. So because nobody celebrates Emancipation Day, do they? I mean, no, they don't. So it has been celebrated. So let me. So here in the city of Las Vegas, they're actually doing some celebrations here in North Las Vegas. Actually, they're celebrating it by a flag raising ceremony, and it happened yesterday that they began to do that. And I think that that's really important. I mean actually, so actually the day was 1865 that it was actually celebrated. So 1863 was when emancipation was proclaimed, but it wasn't until 1865 that word got to everybody else. And so that's an important date in history. Do I have time to tell one more story? I do. Okay, let me tell you one more story too. This is how weird the Civil War was, or wars are. That just because one thing is said on one day, and the higher ups say, "Hey, this is the end of something," doesn't mean that automatically filters through the ranks, and everybody knows about. As a matter of fact, through the Revolutionary War, there was a British ship that was a pretty big battleship. It was out on the sea when the Revolutionary War ended. Well, it still needed to be retrofitted and fixed and stuff like that because they had no idea that the Revolutionary War had ended. They went down to Australia, who at the time was British, ally against the United States, and they were retrofitting it, fixing it, that kind of stuff. It was almost a year before that ship listened to all the messages that they were being sent that the Revolutionary War was over before they finally said, oh, we don't have to fight and sink every ship. Because by then, everybody kept telling them, look, stop shooting. The war is over. And they went, yeah, whatever. And they were killing everybody still. So June 19th, 1865 was when the last slaves in Texas found out that slavery had ended in the United States. So celebrate that day. Okay, so celebrate that day. That's actually coming up this weekend. and you can celebrate that day with the rest of the nation. Okay. Anyways, so we're done, folks. We will see you again, Monday, when we'll talk about some more cool stuff that's happened over the weekend. We're going to actually go out to the Atomic Liquor store this weekend. Okay, they're celebrating their 70th anniversary, so we're going to go out there this weekend. Be on the lookout for that on our Facebook page. We'll actually make an announcement about what day we're going to go out there. I still have to convince Mama that we're going out there, and so we haven't decided on the day, but keep an eye out for that because we'd love to see you out there. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray for the Livin in Vegas podcast. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We'll see you again Monday when we'll talk about the people, the places, the trends, the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. When you think of living in Vegas, folks, think living local. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.